Now, many Americans have been marking the anniversary of the European discovery of the New World by the explorer Christopher Columbus, but some say the annual Columbus Day holiday is equal to celebrating the Holocaust, as his arrival on the continent in 1492 was followed by what they describe as the genocide of Native Americans. Investigative journalist and RT contributor Wayne Madsen shares that opinion as well, and he's with RT's Priya Srida, sorry about that, in our Washington studio. Get your name the right way. Take it away, chaps.
Hi there, Kevin. So for many people here in the United States, Columbus Day means a day off from work and big shopping sales at the mall. But what about the Native Americans? Many people say this holiday helps celebrate colonialism, imperialism, and racism. And joining me to help talk about it is RT contributor and investigative journalist Wayne Madsen. Wayne, thanks so much for joining me. So first of all, you know, the United States always prides itself on being an open and accepting country. How do you think that Columbus Day is an opposite of those values?
Well, when we think about celebrating Columbus Day, and it's a peculiar holiday, we don't have a holiday in this nation for the Native Americans. We don't celebrate their rich culture, their contributions to America. But we have Columbus Day. Columbus basically ushered forth in the Western Hemisphere what the Native American Museum describes here in Washington as a Holocaust that cost the lives of 65 million Native Americans and the systematic destruction of 500 Native nations from the Arctic Circle all the way down to Tierra del Fuego in South America. So many teachers and public schools now in this country are now giving a balanced view of Columbus, saying that he's not to be put on a pedestal as some sort of mythical or even a fairy tale figure, but in fact he was a colonialist, he was an imperialist, and we also know that after Columbus we saw terrible things done to the Native Americans, from contaminating blankets with smallpox, skinning Indians alive. Andrew Jackson, the later President of the United States, his Indian fighters would skin Indians and make pants from the waist down of Indian skin. So this is what we're essentially celebrating when we celebrate Columbus, and Native Americans and other people in this country are very much opposed to this celebration of this holiday.
And so let's fast forward to 2009. Are there still policies here in the United States that kind of promote the mistreatment of Native Americans? And what about popular culture? How are Native Americans viewed today in the United States?
Well, it's everything from sports teams with racist names to Indian casinos on Native American reservations. We see the Washington Redskins, for example, which is a totally racist appellation. The Cleveland Indians, a baseball team, uses a caricature of a Native American with buck teeth, a very racist symbol. So we have that. We have Jack Abramoff, the GOP lobbyist, who basically schnookered and scammed Indians in these casino deals, and we have his emails where he refers to Indians as troglodytes, monkeys, and morons, and even worse names. So this is what this institutionalized racism against Native Americans still exists today. And when we talk about a guy like Abramoff, it exists high up in the political structures in the nation's capital. I would note that the District of Columbia is named after Columbus. So we even have District of Columbia, Columbus, Ohio, Columbia, South Carolina, all basically honoring this individual who, before he was a mercenary for the Spanish crown, was a slave trader for the Portuguese.
And what about South America? Is there a difference between the way Native Americans are treated in South America today than the way they are here in the United States?
Well, early on, of course, the Spanish and the Portuguese were as imperialist and colonialist against the native populations in South America as we were today. But they've advanced very much. Evo Morales is the Aymara Indian president of Bolivia. Bolivia is now called the plurinational state of Bolivia. Hugo Chavez, the president of Venezuela, at the UN General Assembly at a press conference, noted that when he was a member of a military mission, when he was a Venezuelan officer, went to Guatemala, and he personally witnessed Guatemalan special forces systematically planning the extermination of the Mayan Indians. Americans, and he realized these are my people that they're massacring. In Venezuela today, this is not Columbus Day. It's called the Day of Indigenous Resistance. And I think we should look to the Latin Americans more in how they treat this day rather than celebrate the life and the arrival, discovery of America when there were millions of people living here of Christopher Columbus, who certainly I don't think deserves a holiday, and many people agree with that.
And what about Colombia? Does Colombia have some ties to Christopher Columbus?
Well, Colombia is, of course, named after Columbus, and when you look at most of the Latin American countries, Colombia today is basically a narco-fascist state where President Obama is planning on establishing 7 military bases. Basically, the FARC rebel group gets a lot of its support from the indigenous population, and they have been massacred systematically by the right-wing paramilitaries who have been linked to President Uribe of Colombia.
Well, it's certainly an interesting thing to think about how much of this holiday has been commercialized and how much of it has to really do with history. But Kevin, for now, it's back to you.
Yeah, there's certainly food for thought, isn't it? Pretty sure to talking to investigative journalist, RT contributor Wayne Madsen there. Always something interesting that Wayne's got to tell us, isn't it? Thanks very much.